Hey guys, Jengar here. Welcome to today's realistic review in which we are taking a look at the F4U-4B Corsair sitting at 5.7 battle rating in the American line. It has received a flight model update in this patch 1.79 and we are looking at it, see what is different. There have been quite a few tweaks to several flight models, especially a lot of the Italian planes. The Ta-152s and the F4Us, the Gladiator and the SM-79 have all been tweaked in their flight model, especially regarding the rudder and elevator handling, and this will have major effect for this Corsair in the dive performance. So we're definitely going to look at that, and this plane specifically has also had a speed increase of about 16 kilometers an hour. And that is also definitely noticeable. The maximum speed of this plane at sea level without WEP is 593 kilometers an hour, and with WEP 639. At 4500 meters this is 512 kilometers an hour without WEP and 548 with WEP. And finally at 6500 meters she can go up to 490 kilometers an hour without WEP and 498 with WEP. You see the WEP definitely dropping off at the higher altitudes, and performance is definitely best at mid to low altitude, although the plane definitely handles and performs very nicely at higher altitudes as well. There is no reason not to go high in this plane, but the top speeds are definitely increased a lot for this plane, and that is very nice to see. It is definitely a very fast plane now. And the top speed in a dive is 843 kilometers an hour before she redlines and 910 before she rips apart. At least sometimes you can take it a little higher depending on what angle you're diving at, but 910 is definitely workable. Is that the effective dive speed? Pretty much. The control stiffening stays away pretty long. You notice a little dip in the roll rate at 600 kilometers an hour. And at 800 kilometers an hour it becomes a little bit more severe, but still rolls very well even at 800 kilometers an hour, and the red line already appears at 843. So there is that. You can definitely run her to about 800 and then start to come out of a dive, and it still pulls off. The elevator is absolutely still functional at that speed, and you can definitely pull out of a dive at those high speeds, even close to the ground. So I found that really nice. And what is the major thing in that dive, of course the speed was already nice in a dive for this plane, but the strange wobble that these planes had, which seems to be involving rolling off center axis and rudder problems, has definitely been fixed. It is much easier to get guns on target in high speed dives, and the high speed control you have over this plane, the handling, is much better now with this flight model change, and that is absolutely brilliant for this plane, because it used to be quite annoying, especially when this plane just came out, to get the guns on target at high speed dives, because it just handled very weirdly. But it is absolutely improved. It is totally gone. I did not notice this same bug now. The stall speed in the plane is 155, which is quite nice. Firepower is excellent. You have 4 20mm A and M3 cannons with 246 rounds per gun. I use default belt with the 600 meter convergence. The plane can also be equipped with 2 250 pound bombs plus 2 500 pounders or 2 1000 pound bombs, and you can also choose for 8 HVAR rockets. So there is a lot of versatility in this plane. You can run it as pure fighter, as a ground attacker with rockets or bombs. You can choose between several loadouts. This is absolutely nice. The ammo load is excellent. Acceleration in the plane in a straight line is also excellent. In a dive it's great. The energy retention in the horizontal is very good to great, and in the vertical is good to very good. It still performs very nicely in the vertical. Better than it was also, maybe because of the speed increase. It works absolutely very nicely. The climb rate is very good as well, so that really supports the vertical performance as well, and it feels better than it was, absolutely. So maybe that is also part of the flight model improvement. The turn time in the plane is above average to decent. That is basically the weak part of that, although the plane can be very nice in vertical loops and turning with flaps at the top end of your loop, then it can turn very nicely. At the ideal speed range of this plane, from about 400 to 600 kilometers an hour, maybe already 350, you can also make the first few turns, which can be quite nice, and you can surprise enemies that turn better than you in that moment. So that's very nice. The flaps rip off at around 500 kilometers an hour, which is also decent, although the plane is pretty fast, so you have to be careful with that. The roll rate in the plane is very good, absolutely. It's not a Focke-Wulf 190, but it's not very far off. It's a little bit off, but it's very good. It's really nice. Overall maneuverability is good. The overheating is a little bit of a problem. Once you do get overheated, it keeps coming back very quickly, and that is especially in the engine. So keep an eye on that. But it does cool off initially, but you can run her up pretty well. So be careful when you whip a lot. Absolutely, you don't want this thing to overheat. The durability in the plane is very good. It can soak some damage, and for a fighter, it is not a P-47, but it is not far off. It can take quite a few hits, and that is always nice. A plane that doesn't fall apart with the first few hits is something to treasure. Although, of course, preferably you never get hit, but sometimes, you know. This plane really fits very well an energy fighting and boom and zoom role. It's very good at that. Boom and zooming is now absolutely pure and pristine, with no more issues in the rolling, no more elevator hiccups or anything, no more feeling that you don't roll off center. It rolls much better in that regard at the higher speeds, at the high end of your dive, and thus you keep control and you are better able to get guns on target in those situations, which is nice, and absolutely an improvement for this plane and the role that it functions in. The boom and zooming becomes pleasure in this plane. Energy fighting is also much more pleasurable with this finishing. The guns are still great, the ammo load is excellent, and the plane has become an absolute joy to fly. No more frustrating moments in this plane, which I did have when it was just released and it had those problems. And I'm very glad that they fixed it on this plane. It needed it. It makes this plane now absolutely perfect, and possibly my favorite 5.7 battle rating plane. Although the K4 is also nice, I like this plane better myself personally at this moment. Firepower is absolutely devastating. Always nice, and the roll rate on the plane is also quite nice. Let's see what kind of rewards we got for that performance. We've got Final Blow, Terror of the Sky, and Bulletproof. We've got 39,000 Silver Lions and 2,800 research points. Hey guys, so here we are after the match. It's an absolute joy to fly this plane now. With this fixed flight model, this has become one of my, if not my favorite 5.7 battle rating plane. And there's a lot of planes out there. It's definitely for the allies, but it comes very close to some of my favorite Axis planes as well at this battle rating. This is an absolute joy to fly now, and in its specific role, the boom and zooming and energy fighting that this plane is good at and even has become better at because of the improved performance in the vertical and the much improved dive performance, the high-end dives and the roll rate you have there, and the way you can get guns on target now with no more interference from a rudder or feeling that you roll off center is all fixed now, and these 4 20mm cannons will wreak havoc on your opponents. You have great ammo loads on them. They're fantastic guns, and I have had an absolute blast. I was devastating in this plane. A little bit of overheating that you have to pay some attention to. The durability is good. The turn time is above average to decent, which is not its most spectacular part. Although, like I said, in some situations, vertical loops, and when you're in your ideal speed range, you can make a few turns before you slow down, and the turn time becomes a little bit less good again. But you have some nice tricks up your sleeve in this plane. Excellent performance now, fantastic plane, and I would say this has become really, really good. It also became much faster. You know, wow, if you haven't flown this plane out yet, you have to definitely take it out and start flying it, because she is an absolute beauty now. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the review. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye. If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button, become part of this community. If you are already a subscriber, don't forget to like the video, do leave me a comment, and if you really feel like helping out today, make sure to share the video with your friends and let them know about the channel.